Hey, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and I am Ethan Van Sciver, your host, your Uncle Ethan, just a humble ink and superhero merchant. And artist, comic book artist, mostly for DC Comics. I've worked for Marvel for about a year, maybe a year and a half, but I've worked for DC Comics for about 20 years, happily so. And I think I'm best known for, if you were to review my list of books, I think you'd find Green Lantern kind of at the top of the list of what I'm kind of known for, and happily so. I love Green Lantern. It's just it's not a book that I read growing up, but it's a character that has spoken to me ever since. I love the idea of a man limited only by his courage, and that's what this book is all about. So this is Edge of Oblivion number 2. Now, yesterday I posted a video that was a commentary track for issue number 1, just to kind of get us back up to speed. This book was the first. This was kind of my return to Green Lantern. I'd done a few fill-in issues and helper-outers on Sinestro, which had his own title at this time. And they asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, I really just want to do Green Lantern and whatever. And it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it has something to do with the lanterns, I want to do it. And they had this pitch in, and basically, I think the original title was Dying Universe, which they didn't like. I thought it sounded pretty cool, but they wanted something a little bit more splashy, so I said Edge of Oblivion, and they said, okay, great, we're going to go with that. Here is the cover. And I feel like this might have been the first thing I drew. I feel like I drew this cover before I drew the cover to issue number 1. And I don't know why, but it's a little bit shaky. Like, I'm not crazy about Guy Gardner's face here. I do like Aricia's panicked facial expression. John Stewart is kind of dissolving as he drifts away. Like, they're all hanging on to the last remnants of a world here that's disintegrating as it flies to this kind of break in the universe that's destroying everything, including Mogo. Look, Mogo is catching fire here. This scary cover could have been better, but I feel like I was just kind of getting back into it. So last issue, something killed Muck Muck, the fish lantern. Also, Mogo. This is really good. People go, why do you do that? Well, because I haven't seen this stuff in a long time, and when you're working on it, you're very close to it. You don't like it very much when you turn it in, and you're not too confident about the work that you're doing. It's only with a passage of time, when you forget and you've done 10 more books since, that you can go back and look at it with fresh eyes and kind of see what people saw, like just people who weren't involved when they bought the book and opened it. And I have varying reactions. Sometimes it's disgust, but oftentimes it's sheer joy, like this. So here we have the Lost Lanterns. Last issue, Mogo set off a beacon in the middle of this dying universe, okay? And he knew that there were other lanterns possibly floating around lost in this vast emptiness of space. And it was important that the lanterns all get together and find each other and be safe, at least together on this one planet, so that maybe they can find a solution for the way this alternate universe that they're in is dying. Maybe they can fix it or escape, one of the two. So I think we're headed towards escape, probably. This gigantic body of chunk of ground is actually a little miniature planet in itself with booster rockets on it, okay, organic rockets, and on this planet exist all of the surviving denizens of this universe, believe it or not. And there aren't that many, but there's still a lot. They've come to the Green Lanterns for help. And in the meantime, here we have lanterns that were lost in space, and they see Mogo. They saw Mogo, and now they're flying towards Mogo. They're returning. So there's a lot of stuff happening just in one illustration to kind of catch you up. And in the meantime, we have our boys and girls landing right in front of poor Muck Muck's body. It's a crime scene, and they don't know who is it. Kilowog doesn't know who it is. How do you not know that that's... Okay, so Simon Baz says it was Muck Muck, and everybody is sad. It's a good shot of Guy Gardner here. Yeah. And Guy Gardner blames it on Simon Baz. This book is a good way. We talk about politics in comics, and how they're a no generally, and I think that the reason for that is that we don't want to explicitly push one side without at least giving air to the other side. No matter where you stand, it's important to kind of show both sides accurately. So here's the political situation here. It's not unlike taking in a lot of refugees. That's the underlying theme here, okay? Because they're safe on Mogo. They're more or less, for the time being, they're safe. They're headed towards destruction, but the Lanterns are safe. And then they take on this enormous broken planet full of refugees from other worlds who have nowhere to go. And Guy Gardner's attitude is, hey, we don't know these people. We don't know what they are. We don't know if they're toxic. We don't know. Like, how do we let them live among us? We're not safe. And Simon Baz basically, and I think rightly, says, they're both right, but when it comes to their mission as Green Lanterns, Simon Baz's attitude is, this is our job. Our job is to protect the universe. This is the universe that we are in right now. These are survivors. We need to help them any way that we can. It's the purpose of our ring and uniform. So Guy Gardner angrily points at Simon Baz and says, this is what you want? And Simon's just sitting there. Aricia tries to calm him down. Kilowog and Simon Baz last issue both said, yeah, we got to do this. We got to take people in. And Guy is roaring at Kilowog. This was your call, Kilowog. You said we'd protect this world without knowing whether these people deserve our protection. You said we'd help them to escape us. Now look what they've done. So, Guy has a point. That's sometimes, unfortunately, there are consequences to your principles. Nobody is 100% sure that, when they observe and regard their principles, that there won't be some negative consequences. And this is the consequence here. They lost a friend, and just like Guy Gardner said that they would. Now, Muck sacrifice his death might have been inevitable, and might have been worth it in the long term, because they might be able to save a whole planet full of living creatures. So that's the discussion, that's the debate, and that's left up to the reader here, more or less. And that's what I like about this book. How do you feel? Do you feel that Guy Gardner was right, or do you feel like Kilowog and Simon are right? That's up to you. Well, we're not gonna not here anyway. We might at the end arrive at a conclusion, but at the moment, this is a pretty good argument for Guy, and then we're gonna have to see why he might be wrong. And here we go. Simon just responds, we don't know what did this. That's point one. We don't know who killed him. Do you want to demonize everyone in the last city for this? So the planet is called the last city, I guess. Because lumping groups together and demonizing them doesn't tend to end well for anyone. Amen. I'm going to have a drink after that. It's an energy drink. Okay. Cheers. That's a good rational point, Baz. Why don't you try it out on the shriveled up corpse of our friend? That's low. You're going to get punched, Guy. All right? In the meantime, Kilowog leaves. And Kilowog's like, okay, look. I'm going to go, instead of squabbling with my friends, I'm going to go confront the people directly who might know who's responsible for this. And he lands in front of Dismas and Alstrus. And he says, something ate one of my friends. You know anything about it? They're giants. They're fun to draw. They said, I'm sorry. I truly thought you'd be able to help and be strong enough to resist. Resist what? And they have agreed to help us, Dismas. They deserve to know everything they face. We vowed to protect the last city and its people, and we are failing. If the Lanterns act against her, we risk tearing the city apart with civil war. What are they talking about? And they're having a conversation between themselves here. And the guy's just like, we're standing here, right? Kilowog just bows his head. and they're talking about Marniel. And Marniel is this creature right here. Yeah. She's very interesting. I like her. I kind of made her look like a hideous kind of Queen Elizabeth insect robot. I don't know. That was going through my mind. Here's the thing. When you're creating alien characters for Green Lantern, there are temptations to just do really boring, tried and true things like, hey, he's got, this time his skin is blue and he's got pointy ears. You know, they all have Spock ears. And I try so hard to avoid that. I try so hard to just come up with outlandish designs whenever I can, just to keep things fresh and interesting. Otherwise, the other choice is to draw all aliens to look like lizard men, which is inevitably what happens when you have no ideas and you're pressed for time. And it just kind of makes the concept not as wondrous. We want to see crazy things in this book. Yeah, it looks like the rocket boosters on the Lost City planet are taking off. The planet is fleeing. And John says, fleeing what? Fleeing this. Oh, this was great. Again, let's give it up for colorist Jason Wright. He was pretty much, we were kind of establishing ourselves as a little bit of an art team at this point because, I really liked his work and he looked good over my stuff. So I just said, everything that you do, I want you to color, and he was there. Here's the tear in the universe, and basically all I drew was just this kind of tear, and I don't know. And I left the background blank, and then I do this thing. This is a handy little trick that I do. I haven't seen too many other people copy it yet, but I'll never stop because it's really effective. If you want to show enormous scale, okay, I mean down here, this little dot is Mogo, right here, okay, and then this is the planet zooming away here, beginning to move. So, I mean, look, there's no possible way that we could see their reactions to, this, because they'd be so small. So we have this kind of weird kind of word balloon thing that says, hey, this is kind of a magnifying glass of this spot. Boom, there they are. Still tiny. And we see how big, how vast this tear is, and it's getting bigger. And here we meet Marniel, who is in this tattered dungeon kind of scenario, trying to work out the plan, and talking about what we just saw. It's sucking in everything around it, and it's growing. What is that? What could that represent anyway? I mean, that's open to your interpretation. We've already established that, this book is a lot about, and the refugee crisis of a couple years ago. I mean, I guess there might still be, kind of a Syrian refugee crisis. I just, don't know. I haven't been keeping up. I'm sure there is. But 2 years ago, it was on everybody's number one concern list. And this book kind of is in response to that. So what is that sucking, like, gigantic, empty, destructive tear in the universe that's sucking in everything with it, and we all have to survive it together? That's up to you to decide. It could represent anything. And they have a plan. They're going to try to stop the planet from moving. Okay, so Marniel sends her little aliens, her agents, with this bomb to kind of blow up the engines. And yeah, boom. And the engines. They've destroyed the engines, and everyone's reacting. What do we do? They need to get away from that chasm. And this is a great shot right here. Oh, dear me. This is terrific. Good job, May. John Stewart with his... Now, when I was working on Rebirth with Jeff Johns, we all decided that, look, these guys need to have distinctive auras, and the way they use their rings needs to be distinctive to them and who they are and the way they think. And John Stewart's an architect, and he thinks objects through, obviously. He thinks in a designed, planned kind of way. So John Stewart's aura is kind of like a technical kind of, almost like tech drawing all around him. Like he's thinking in terms of lines, like parallel lines, and structure, all the time, and it's just natural. So when he's powered up, that kind of comes off of him. It's what he exudes. I love these other lanterns listening to him as he commands. We've got Kilowog, we've got Arisia, we've got Vaz. We've got, I'm not sure who he is now. I always do this guy, Zalius Sox, I believe his name was. He's dead, but I just insist that like someone, like if that guy died, then he needs to have a replacement here. His ring would go to someone else, maybe on his planet, and so that he's the same member of that race. Here is Badge the squirrel, and 2-6 Hanu and Guy Gardner, and they're all listening and ready, taking orders. And then I bought an action figure to be able to draw Stell, because this is a character that, I'm sorry, one of the most difficult things in the world is to go ahead and remember like every single aspect of an armored character like this. If I were drawing Iron Man or something like that, I would need to have a little action figure just so I'd be able to see him from every turn. The other option is to just have photo reference, or just reference, not photo reference, but a book opened with him in it all day long, and flip pages to see, hey, what does the back of his ankle look like? I mean, it's too much work. So go ahead and get an action figure, and then you have the design in 3 dimensions. So I did do that to keep him consistent. And he does show up in this issue quite a bit. John zips back over to Alceris, and they are making plans here. Their plan is to try to seal up the chasm, okay, using willpower constructs. All of them together, boom, 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 and they just start throwing slabs of green over that like a Band-Aid. I feel like that's not going to work, but it might work temporarily to stop people from getting sucked into that void. And in the meantime, we've got to go into this broken engine. These are the engineers. These are the people that know a few things about this and that, and maybe they can fix this engine that a bomb just went off in. Here's the beautiful 2-6. I posted the artwork for this. I think the pencils, or not the pencils, but the black and white inks for this shot, because I really liked it. And she is scanning the area for life forms. And yeah, sure enough, Marniel's agents are still in there, and they're firing. They're brrr. And so, Alceris just kind of holds out her hand and blocks their bullets, and the lanterns are going to have to open fire on these people, all that, right? Have to. Well, they could, except that Alceris just crushes them under her hand. John's like, that'll do it. So, he's like, are you all right? Yeah, we're fine, and we're very glad you're on our side. Here is an extremely kick-ass shot of John Stewart, which was called for. I forget these things as soon as I draw them, but that's exactly why you buy comic books right there. Good job, me. Getting back into being a lantern artist again. And we've got Vaz back there, and of course Stell. I'm going to keep drawing them. I have the action figure, Hanu and 2-6. Meanwhile, here's Guy Gardner and Arisia and Badge, and they're doing everything they can to keep the pressure on the Band-Aid they put over the wound, the sucking wound in the universe. This page took forever, and I'll show you why. I mean, this is a nicely drawn panel, but again, this is John Stewart using his powers to reconstruct the engine, to fix it with a construct. So here's what we have. We have a tiny little panel here showing the inside of the engine. Everyone is drawn completely beautiful. Look at the detail on this. I'm so glad I did this. Everyone's drawn great. You see smoke all around. You see the broken remnants of the inside of the engine. And working on it. Stell, I can see what's missing and what needs to be built, but can you interpret how it needs to move? And Stell says, I think so. He says, draw it out. And look how cool this is. And John Stewart, first I had to draw the background of the brokenness, and then I had to draw all this stuff coming out over it, this construct. That took a long time. This is no overlay. This is all one piece of art, okay? So I didn't just draw the brokenness and then just kind of do hey, overlay this. No, I actually drew this and then drew in between all these little bits to kind of do the background, and then it gets crazy. Here's a technical map of what the engine should look like when repaired, and they're standing back in awe. Incredible. And yeah, I drew this very. If you get this issue, that's worth looking at, I think. I mean, I got in there and I drew. Basically, what I did was I took apart a bunch of airplane engines, and that's what I used for reference. And I kind of pasted them together into this interesting looking design here. And yeah, Stell says this will need absolute focus. We can get this planet moving, but only if we each become pieces of the engine. Whew, yeah, it's tough. I love that. It's lanterns working together. Yeah, Marniel bids goodbye to this creepy bird skull man, and he flies an airplane towards the void. Look at this, right out of his window. He sees what is happening. We see the Green Lanterns all lined up, very small still, and they're building this gigantic Band-Aid over the chasm. Dismas is there, and this idiot presses a button. Alien missiles fly out of his plane. Isn't it funny how, on different planets they come up with basically the same ideas for weaponry and warfare as we have on Earth in our universe? Sure, why not? Who cares? Missiles come in right past Guy, right past Arisia. They're concentrating. They didn't know this was happening, huh? Boom! Look at that. Just blew up the constructs. And these are some great little. I mean, that's a great shot of beautifully colored by Jason Wright. They are now way too close to the wound in the universe. Way too close. And look at poor Badge. Oh, my goodness sakes. All right. Well, a hand reaches out and grabs Guy. Okay, pulls him close. Here's a little Guy in his hands. Arisia and Badge, where are they? And they're in his other hand. We're okay, Guy. Okay, good. But then this dude shows back up again, and he turns around for another go, and, Guy just says, look out. Fires his ring at the airplane in an attempt to destroy it. What ends up happening is, the airplane explodes. The spaceship explodes right here, boom, and sends fire and, just shrapnel and nonsense across Dismas's mouth. And it alarms him, and he accidentally lets go. He opens his hand, and Arisia and Badge float into destruction. And this is, again, wonderfully colored by Jason Wright. Absolutely wonderful. I love the whiteness of this page. This is it. This is Oblivion. We're no longer on the edge of Oblivion. This is Oblivion. And here is a page that, again, took a long time to draw. They're all standing there now. They're all doing their part to maintain the engine. John Stewart shouts, I think it's working. Kilowog, they're firing. The engines are firing. Okay, they've got the planet moving. Let's all pull back. Meanwhile, Guy can't believe it. He can't believe what he just saw. Arisia and Badge, they're dead. Gather Dismas and the other wounded. We'll treat them on Mogo. There we go. We see that Salak has made a cradle, kind of like a stretcher, to put Dismas's enormous body in and to carry him back to the world. Meanwhile, Kilowog supervising all this, comes over, zips over. Look at this progression of emotion. Disbelief, and anger creeps in, and then anger. Gardner, they're gone. There's nothing you can do for them. Oh, you Kilowog, wrong thing to say. Boom, right there. That's it, end of the issue. Guy Gardner's had enough of this. You're the one who said that we should do this. Now we've lost 3 of our people. Our friends have been lost to this. And good issue. Next issue, Fighting for the Fallen. I like this book a lot. I thought it was fun working with Tom Taylor, who I think he's Australian, and a really good writer, really good guy. And I wish I'd finished this whole thing. We'll talk about why I didn't finish the whole series next issue. We're going to do issue number 3, and I'll show you the covers that I did for the rest of the series, and we'll talk about what came next. it's all a lot of fun. Yeah, this is what being a comic book artist is, my friends. It's just a lot of hard work, but at the end of the day, a really nice reward and something that you can look back on with pride, which I do. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, and retweet. Send it to everyone that you think might be interested. And this channel is growing, guys. Yesterday we cleared 10,000 subs. Now we're getting 100 plus new subs a day, and that's tremendous growth for any channel, especially a channel that's only been around since late October. So I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for this channel and my connection with you guys through it. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. I'm Ethan Van Skyver, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.